There we go. Look at there. Blades out, baby. So once again, we're on a new body of water, so we're covering water, and we've got kind of a straight stretch of bank here with just little dip ins and little points. And when you have that, I mean, you can cover it parallel. You know, the bait we're using right now is pretty unique. This bait right here walks as good as any of them, but there is a trick to this bait. The neat thing about the prop walker is, you know, we've got just your standard walking bait, you know, spitter. Then you go like this and you pop this out, and you pop this out, and now you got a plopper style bait. And I know you're thinking, oh, there's no way it can do, no one bait can do two things. Well, I want you to watch. I mean, look at that. You immediately go to a plopper style bait. And so with this bait, I can now go halfway down the bank and then switch up without having to get a new rod, get another bait out. But this plopper style, when you fold the wings out, a couple things this bait does really, really good. One, the plopping baits that are on the market now have one wing, right? They have one tail, so to speak, that spins. What that tends to do is it'll push it to one side or the other. It doesn't have a choice. You know, it's rotation, it's mechanics. With two, this one holds the bait dead true, which helps your hookup ratios, because your hooks are straight and thing, they're not on the side. And so by having two wings, the other thing about these is these wings, they'll actually fold out of the way. They, you know, fish comes up and hits them, they can collapse. You know, if he comes up behind, I mean, it can collapse his wings, it can fold them back, it can do all kinds of things. And they're not very big to begin with. So when that fish comes up to eat, the mechanics of a plopper aren't going to get in its way. The thing about a popper, you know, walker popper, which is what I would consider this, is it spits and walks, right? So it's got kind of that dual action. The nose is concaved, and so it'll give a good spitting action. And what we found is, you know, it'll call them up real good, right? So, you know, that's when your pencil popper style bait, your popper walker, comes into play. You know, there's a lot of different setups you can use for it, and quite frankly, I've gone back and forth. So, you know, originally we all threw mono with your baits, right? Well, the hooks weren't that good back then and all that kind of stuff, so you had too much stretch and you didn't have super sharp hooks, and so you'd lose a lot of fish traditionally on a topwater. Well, then everybody switched to braid. Well, now, you know, I think you can go back and forth. Like, you know, my rule of thumb would be braid with a lighter rod. If you throw braid, you can get away with as much as a medium rod. You know, hooks are so sharp anymore that you're going to drive those hooks. So if I'm going to go with mono, which is what I have here, I'm going to go with at least a medium heavy to a heavy rod. If I go with braid, I'm going to go with at the most a medium heavy down to even a medium rod, depending on the size of the bait. You know, it's a matter of preference, you know, what you want to do with it. You know, if I'm trying to create as much distance as possible, sure, go with braid. If you're in tight, around wood, pads, stuff like that, like we are today, I like mono. You know, you can pop it off of stuff, you can do stuff that you can't do with braid. So it's just a matter of preference, but the rule of thumb is, if you go with mono, stiffen your rod. If you go with braid, loosen your rod a little bit, and always make sure you got good sharp hooks. So the rod I'm using right now it's a Squad from Savage Gear, and what it is, I mean, it's a great price point rod for one, but it's a 7.4 moderate medium heavy, and it's unbelievably light. And when you're throwing topwater all day, which we're doing today, you know, you need something that's light, you know, and well, first of all, it's a great rod. Besides that, it's super light and active, right? I mean, when you're throwing topwater, I mean, just watch every cast. You know, it's not like you're throwing out there and just holding a jig. I mean, you're literally working. That'll wear on you after a day. So, you know, just let you work your topwater all day. I mean, it's a great combination.